Well, good morning, afternoon, or evening. I'm Professor Rios, and I'd like to welcome you to the course because ideally you are watching this and listening to this at the very beginning of a course. Um, this is an administrative video designed to get you to think about what you're doing before you click submit on really any aspect of coursework as you navigate a full semester or a summer term or a half term, whatever the case may be. This is applicable to my Geo 101 Physical Geography course at SUNY Orange, and it is also applicable to the climate change course that is hosted at SUNY WCC. It is the exact same statement. It is the exact same number of notes, identical. So it applies equally. And I do this because as we move along in time, AI becomes really a bigger and bigger deal. This applies to other stuff beyond AI. Although AI is probably the most significant aspect of the reason I'm doing this, and this is now the third or fourth iteration of this video because you always learn something as you go from one term to the next. So, having said that, let me go ahead and open up the statement, and here it is. It is a rather simple statement at the beginning, so at first you affirm the following, either statement 1 or statement 2. Statement 1 simply says, you received no assistance whatsoever other than 100% paraphrasing material from the textbook or e-text. Now, in the climate change course, there is no book because everything is provided to you via web links, academic sources, free stuff. There's no book in that course. So it would be from those materials. And paraphrasing should mean something to you. That's when you take someone else's words and you sort of shuffle them around into something that makes sense to you. It's still material from another place, but you're paraphrasing it. Okay? Now, statement number 2 says, yes, I received assistance in completing this particular assignment, and it is documented below. And you will note that the word below is in bold caps and underlined. So, there's 5 possible iterations of this statement. So if you make this statement, number 2, you don't simply answer yes and leave it blank. You answer yes, and then you explain either note 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. I'm going to leave note 2 to the end. That's the AI note because it's probably the more complicated one. So let's begin with note 1. The assistance can be another student, and that individual helped you complete an assignment besides the book or the e-text. Then you need to state who that individual was. Note 3, if you do any copying and pasting. So this is like old AI, when you would go to Google and like type something and it would come back with a link, but it was very sort of like rudimentary by comparison. So that would be copy paste. Maybe you have access to the e-text and you copied it right out of the book. If you do, the correct thing to do is to say you copied it, you pasted it, and in parentheses you say page 99 to 101 of the textbook. Ta-da! You just properly cited and referenced. Now, in the case of the climate change course, you might simply want to give the URL to whatever web page you got the information from. And that would be just as correct. Note number 4, you copy and pasted the appropriate documentation statement and actual documentation and submitted that as your response. You need to be careful when you do this. So if you got something from, let's say, some journal, or you copied a link from Google Earth and you use that to explain an answer that you gave, then you need to give that URL of, for example, Google Earth or wherever you got it from. Okay? And then note number 5, your homework will not be accepted unless you provide this statement of documentation. Now, there's a little bit of leeway at the beginning of the course, right? You're still sort of figuring it out. Hopefully it's not that complicated, but if it is incumbent on you to get with me and ask me to explain it to you and clarify it. Maybe I didn't explain it as well as I thought I did, or maybe it was confusing to you. That's fine. I can fully accept that. You just need to let me know, and I am happy to go over it with you, either via email, phone, we can do a Zoom call. There's a variety of ways of addressing this. Now, the significant one would be, again, note number 2. This right here. Any use of AI will be equated to getting material from a person and must be documented. So, for example, you have Claude, you have ChatGPT, you have Meta, you have Google Gemini, you have a whole host of possible AI engines out there, and a whole bunch that I don't even know about, that you may know about. And the problem with AI is it's a slippery slope. And what I mean by that is, if you go through one of these engines and you get an answer to a question and you simply copy and paste it and don't even think about it, you've learned nothing. You haven't committed that to memory. You haven't learned it because you haven't thought about it. And as a result, it's just empty information that once you hit submit, it's gone. You don't even remember it because you haven't critically thought about it. And that's kind of the point. If you don't do that, if you don't critically think about something, then the whole game of academia, it's sort of pointless. You're wasting your time at that point because you're not really learning anything. So listen, I get it. AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It is only becoming more increasingly relevant to everything in life, but you need to use it properly. Like, AI is great for all kinds of things, but you do know that the AI answer that you get is simply a fancier version of a Google search or some kind of internet search. So it is as fallible as the internet is fallible, because the internet is not perfect. There's all kinds of garbage out there. And usually all the AI engines will tell you, hey, AI can be wrong, so proceed with caution, basically. So that's where I'm sort of headed with this. It isn't that I'm immediately assuming that you're going to be cheating, that you're going to be plagiarizing, but the temptation is big. I will completely make that statement, and I feel confident that that's the case. So just be smart about it. This applies to anything, any aspect of the course, whatever that may be, whatever assignment you may be engaging in for either course, Geo 101 or the climate change course. So keep that in mind. If you have questions, please ask. Take it seriously, because I take it seriously. I will let you know that after now 5-6 semesters of dealing with AI in a kind of significant way, you become good at really picking it out. It's easy to tell what's AI and what isn't. You know, if an answer that is required can be answered in 3 to 4 words, and you get like 3 paragraphs, that's AI. No one writes that much on their own for the most part. If the language is too perfect, too beautiful, too almost poetic, that's AI. So once that thread unravels, then it just sends someone like myself or another instructor down that rabbit hole trying to sort of figure out what is and what isn't properly documented. So take it seriously. Again, if you have questions, ask. And I'm happy to go over it with you. So again, this will be part of every homework. At the very, very end, you need to make a statement. You know, I make statement 1 or I affirm statement 2. And if I affirm statement 2, one of these notes applies. And then you should be good to go. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Questions, as I said before, ask. Get with me. I'm happy to go over it with you in detail. And I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you have a great semester, and I will talk to you soon. Look forward to interacting with you. Bye.